I had followed Ptolemy's scattered clues for years. That morning, something told me the search was finally ending.
The silence felt absolute. With each meter down, the world above disappeared. These markings didn't match any known temple. Someone hid this passage deliberately.
I felt the architecture shift. This was no natural cave. It had been shaped with intention. Sobek imagery only appeared in the most guarded Ptolemaic sanctuaries. I knew I was entering forbidden ground. The sea had drowned this place, but light still found ways to reveal its secrets. Water destroyed much, yet somehow preserved the story carved into these stones. Halls like these often concealed hidden roots. No treasury was ever placed in plain sight. With Anubis guarding this space, whatever lay behind that door had immense significance. A warmer current seeped through the crack. There had to be a large chamber beyond. The mechanism still worked after 2,000 years underwater. As the doorway opened, I realized the legends were true. The temple treasury had survived the sea. I felt as if I had crossed into a sacred world, left untouched for millennia.
The architecture was unmistakably royal, but softened by centuries beneath the waves.
Even under layers of salt and time, the offerings still glowed faintly. This altar must have once been the heart of the temple before the sea consumed it. The mural told a story of devotion and of gold beyond imagination. She seemed to watch me enter, as though guarding something further inside.
If these lamps once lit the treasury, its treasures must have been overwhelming.
The deeper I went, the heavier the water felt, as if pressing me towards some hidden truth.
This basin may have once held sacred water. Ironic that now the entire temple is submerged.
The guardians all faced one direction, towards something meant to stay hidden. The seal was still under pressure, meaning the chamber behind it remained intact. When the mechanism responded, I knew I had awakened something ancient. The light beyond was richer, warmer, strangely untouched by time.
The designs formed patterns I had only seen in royal Ptolemaic tombs.
What once stood here must have been priceless, yet something had taken them.
The inscriptions warned of a vault below this one, a sanctuary reserved only for kings.
Nature had torn through the ceiling, but somehow highlighted every forgotten detail. Even covered in ocean life, the gold still radiated the pride of a vanished empire. The broken tile wasn't random. Something below had forced it upward.
A hidden descent meant only one thing: a secondary treasury, unseen by ordinary priests. These chests survived remarkably well, suggesting the builders feared they might be needed again.
The scarabs represented rebirth, yet their placement felt more like a warning. The carvings depicted a journey deeper underground, as though mirroring my own path.
This door wasn't meant for the public treasury. It led somewhere far more important. A royal emblem meant only one thing: private access for the ruling family.
The mechanism was primitive but brilliant, and still partially functional.
When the gears moved, the entire chamber seemed to awaken around me.
This shrine wasn't the final treasury. It was a prelude. The craftsmanship was beyond anything I had ever seen. Whatever once sat here was removed long before the sea reached this place.
The map hinted at another vault below, one reserved for kings alone. The right suggested a sacred transfer, perhaps the movement of the royal treasure. The crack wasn't part of the original design. Something forced this hidden path open.
The crown symbol repeated endlessly, pointing to something of royal magnitude.
The deeper I went, the more chaotic the architecture became, as if abandoned in haste.
These holders dated the structure. They belonged only to early Ptolemaic dynasties. This wasn't the real treasury. It was a decoy meant to mislead intruders. Gold in the water meant something below was breaking open.
The guardians watched not the intruder, but the treasure below.
This was the final seal. Only royalty were ever meant to pass.
When the sphere unlocked, the entire complex trembled, as though waking from a long sleep.
I realized the life was never treasury was never the true prize. The real treasure.
It felt unreal stepping into air after so long underwater. The vault had protected its true heart perfectly. It felt like walking through a ceremony frozen in time. These were not decorative. They marked entry into a realm reserved for kings. Every step felt amplified, as if the hall were listening. Unlike the temple above, this vault was engineered with extraordinary precision. Hearing the gears move after 2,000 years made my pulse race. The inscriptions told of a treasure the world was never meant to find. They glittered faintly, like constellations in a hidden sky. The architecture suddenly shifted. This place had been engineered for movement, not worship. The vents meant something below was still sealed, still breathing. The amount of gold used here defied reason. This was no ordinary vault.
When I stepped on the platform, the entire chamber responded. The warmth of the fire told me I was entering a chamber untouched by water. The faces seemed to watch me, as if judging my worthiness to continue. The mural hinted at a single artifact with power over the entire kingdom. No ancient treasury I had ever seen used metal like this. They built this place to last forever. I felt a gravity pulling me deeper, as if history itself demanded my presence. This was the threshold to the core of the vault.
The serpent symbol warned that only the rightful could claim what lay beyond.
When the emeralds lit up, I knew I had triggered something monumental.
The glow was overwhelming, like stepping into the heart of the sun. No photograph, no legend, could prepare me for such purity of gold.
I sensed the final chamber was near. Everything guided me toward it.
The serpents guarded the final threshold, the vault of the crown itself.
The fragment wasn't just a clue, it was the key. As the serpents unlatched, the air inside felt ancient, untouched by any living soul. At first I thought I saw stars, but it was far more incredible. The ancients engineered a gravity-defying display to honor their kings.
Each step felt like passing through history, frozen mid-breath.
They weren't tools of war. They were symbols of divine authority.
The light drew my eyes to the center, where the greatest Every carving pointed to one artifact, the crown that defined a dynasty. I recognized the sphere at once. It contained the mechanism to unlock the royal diadem. As the sphere opened, the chamber responded with brilliance. The vault transformed into a living constellation of gold. The true altar had been hidden behind a perfect illusion. I had found it, the most coveted crown in ancient history. It radiated a kind of power, as though it still belonged to the gods. The engravings weren't ceremonial. They were declarations of supremacy. The altar was awakening, as if awaiting its rightful heir. The vault was closing to protect its treasure. The crown became the brightest object. It felt like the chamber was alive, announcing the crown's awakening. The oath spoke of responsibility, not power. This ascent mirrored the coronation ritual itself. The ceiling transformed into a map of ancient constellations.
The entire vault moved in harmony with the crown. The vault revealed its own exit, as though acknowledging my presence.
The King's Passage, the route only a monarch was meant to use. With every step, I carried the weight of what I had witnessed. What lay below made even the crown seem modest. It was a treasury beyond any empire's wildest dreams. The reflections lit the vault like an eternal sunrise. The vault offered a path outward, as though rewarding discovery. I suspected this gate led back toward the world above. The sphere had one final purpose: to release me. I saw daylight ahead for the first time since I descended. Each symbol marked the legacy of those who had guarded this place. I had returned to the boundary between worlds, sea and stone, past and present. The vault had granted me escape and erased the path to itself.
I carried nothing with me but memory and the truth of what I had seen.
The sea felt different now, as if it too knew the secret below. The scope of the submerged world stunned me. I realized that what I uncovered was only a fraction of what lies beneath our oceans.
Some discoveries are too powerful to claim, but impossible to forget. The vault was alive, its crown still shining in the dark. No map could guide anyone back. The vault had chosen to remain hidden.
I emerged changed, humbled by the greatest secret of the Ptolemies.
The sea holds more than shipwrecks and ruins. It guards the dreams of entire empires.
And somewhere beneath, the crown still watches over its sleeping kingdom.
My journey ended here, but the story of the vault had only begun. I left the treasure untouched, knowing some wonders belong only to history.
And that was the day I found the eternal crown of Ptolemy and returned it to the silence it deserved.